Hello everyone, it's me John again, and welcome back to the Geek Corner. Now, if you are watching this channel, you have someone to thank for me even being here. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. That's right, this woman here, Felicia Day. We're going to be reviewing her book, but I also just wanted to give you a little bit of backstory into the Geek and Dorks channel and how this all came about, me doing this with you guys. In 2012, I believe, Felicia Day, who still has the Geek and Sundry network. Hey, does that sound familiar? Geek and Sundry, Geek and Dorks. Yes, I was definitely influenced by the Geek and Sundry channel, particularly because they were appealing to people like me. They had a great show on there about these space janitors that I loved. Felicia had her version of a vlog, which she called a flog, which was her doing different things that she had never tried before, which was really cool. She ended that show, unfortunately. I thought it was a really good show. And then she started doing a lot of Let's Plays with her brother, which I watched some of. Very cool. And I was always very interested in having an actress like Felicia Day spending all her time and energy on YouTube as a format, because it wasn't really, at least from the shows I was watching, she was popping up everywhere. It wasn't really hard for her to get work in terms of mainstream Hollywood. And if you read this book, you'll understand she definitely knows her type, and her type definitely became a bit more popular as she came to Hollywood and started getting work out here. But all of a sudden, this actress that I've seen from all these TV shows is spending all her time on this YouTube network and doing all this work for YouTube. So I was really inspired by that, because from my perspective at that time, it was like she was making a choice about reading someone else's script, which quite honestly, I have pretty strong feelings about this too, versus creating your own content. And Geek and Sundry just popped kind of at the right time, and I was there to watch it, and I really wanted to be a part of it. And she actually had a video that she posted where she was looking for new vloggers. They were essentially going to start a Geek and Sundry vlogging channel, kind of a separate channel, an offshoot, but it was still going to be branded for Geek and Sundry. It was going to be tied into the main website and all that good stuff. So she basically had a contest. And if you look at the earliest videos that you will see on this channel, I think I reviewed The Guild, which is a show that she produced for Geek and Sundry. That was my first vlog. And I remember I shot it sitting on a toilet. I just thought it'd be funny. And I shot a whole series. I talked about several different topics, and it was really rough. I mean, it was the first time that I had set up a camera and tried to engage the camera like it was another person and share thoughts with it. It's a bit harder than a lot of people would realize, to sit with a camera and act like you're talking to someone else. So, but I knew that I wanted to review The Guild. I knew I wanted to talk about one of the stars, Jeff Lewis from The Guild. And at the end of that session, I had this probably 30 or 40 minute gobbledygook of information, and then I sat with my editing program and I'm like, okay, oh wait, in this section I'm talking about The Guild, and then I start talking about Jeff, so let me move that clip over here. Oh, I'm talking more about The Guild, let me put that over here. And pretty soon I had edited together the first series of vlogs that I released, and I think there was 4 or 5 different show ideas that kind of came out of that session. One of them was about me going back to college, kind of being a midlifer. Of course, my review shows, which I still do to this day. And a few other ideas, one called Enterbrainment, which is still kind of a passion project. I think I'll get back to making Enterbrainment episodes every now and then, but I'm just focused on Brain Scratch so much right now. But it was really the bones of this channel, and it was a direct result of her making that video and being very inspiring in that video, and really asking people to challenge themselves with their entries into the contest to be a Geek and Sundry vlogger. So I entered, if I remember right, I entered 4 of my different show ideas. And then I got contacted by someone at Geek and Sundry, and they were like, hey, John, you can only enter 1 because we're using a voting system, and if you enter 4, it's basically just going to split up your votes. And they kind of gave me a little bit of an option there. If I could go back, I would have told them just enter all 4 of them, because it's weird. I think they were thinking more about it from a personality base, and my shows really had different focuses each, and my personality was part of it, but the show idea was really what I was trying to show to them. But I did boil it down to 1. The competition came, and you could watch other people's entries, which was cool. I found a couple of favorites, and lo and behold, those favorites became part of the Geek and Sundry Vlogs channel. Unfortunately, I didn't make it, but it still was a catalyst. The whole thing is what started all of this. It's exactly what led to Brain Scratch, and I really owe a lot to Felicia. As a matter of fact, I went to see her during one of the Comic-Cons. They would have a Geek and Sundry lounge, and she would do book signings and stuff like that there. And I actually filmed a little segment for one of my enterbrainment shows where I was a mad scientist. I had this character called Dr. Geek and Dorks, and I went to meet Felicia, and in the storyline, Dr. Geek and Dorks was giving her this item that was supposed to control her brain, and that was going to put me in control of the Geek and Sundry empire. And the device doesn't work, so then Dr. Geek and Dorks hijacks a blimp and crashes it into the building, which I know it sounds a little nutty now that I'm saying all that back, but it was very cool for me technically because it was all improvisation. And when I got to meet Felicia, I asked her to just do one thing for my scene, which was look at this device and then throw it over her shoulder. And she was very cool and did it, and it was really nice. And she knew that we were filming it and everything. It was really, really awesome. Now that I've read her book, You're Never Weird on the Internet, almost, I understand why it was so easy to get her to do that. She is very supportive of other content creators, people up and coming. And this book, if you want to understand YouTube, this book could really help. If you want to understand Hollywood, this book has a lot of personal insight into that as well, into what it's really like to be an actor, going to a couple of auditions, having all this time off and not knowing what to do with yourself. If you want to understand video game addiction, this book also hits on that very strongly. Basically, in a lot of her downtime, she got caught up in World of Warcraft to the point where she was seeking help. Her friends knew that she was really addicted, that there was an actual problem with that. And then even taking kind of our less glamorous experiences, like an addiction like that, and then turning it into something positive, which for her was making the show The Guild. So, of course, if you're a fan of any of that stuff, I highly, highly recommend you check out this book. It's very entertaining. She's very personable. It's strange because, one of the things we try to do in terms of vlogging is we want it to feel like we're actually sitting there with you, like we're just having a conversation. And her writing style is extremely conversational. She's very, very good at writing. And you get to hear the whole story. I mean, from her as a little kid, early days of the internet, to going through her college experience. Even by her own admission, she thinks that she worked too hard in college. She was too pressured to get A's all the time. Her moving to Hollywood, becoming an actress, getting to understand her type, and then really, once it turns to YouTube, really her finding a creative outlet where she could share herself in all these new ways and make an awesome show, The Guild, which I also have to recommend. It's a very different show. It's got really good production values for being a web series, and reading the backstory of it here about how they put it together, very, very cool. She was kind of practically a dumpster diver to find different props and stuff for the show, which was a really cool factoid. So. And there's even some darker stuff. She was basically, about the time that I met her at that signing, she was going through some pretty serious depression. She was having issues at the Geek and Sundry offices. She really, it seemed like the work-life balance thing wasn't figured out for her yet. And she was working really hard, working all the time, kind of becoming not the nicest person to her staff, and her staff was starting to push back on her about it. She loses a very close friendship. It's just a very honest, open, and telling view of what she's gone through. And I really enjoyed it literally from cover to cover. It's a very relaxing, fun read. And as I mentioned, it just feels conversational. It feels like a blog put into, or a vlog put into a paper form. Never quite seen another book like this. So I hope you will check it out. And if nothing else, maybe you want to check out Geek and Sundry. Like I said, they're the inspiration for me being here. The channel's a bit different now. The Geek and Sundry Vlogs channel, from what I've seen, I think is dead. And many of the vloggers there seem to have just kind of given up YouTube altogether. A few of them have gone on and have grown decent audiences, but it's kind of cool to me to look back at that. And I remember seeing vloggers there that had, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people, and I was just thinking like they were on their way. I'm just, oh man, look, they already have thousands of people, and their channels are now abandoned and all that. And especially with finally hitting my 10,000 mark in terms of subscribers, it feels really good to just look back at all that and say, wow, it's like climbing a hill. Now you can look down and enjoy the view a little bit. And I'm just happy that I'm still here, that I'm not going anywhere, and I have all of you to thank for that. And if I say thank you too much, you guys are gonna have to get over that, because I just appreciate it every single day that I get up and I get in front of a camera. So once again, thank each and every one of you for being a subscriber here. All right, I'm gonna let you go. I will catch you on the next show on the Geek and Dorks channel. Have an awesome day, everyone, and take care.